In the personal story segment tonight, as you may have heard, United Airlines is under fire for forcibly removing passenger David Dow from a flight from Chicago to Louisville on Sunday. United CEO Oscar Munoz issued yet another apology just this morning.
It's not so much what I thought, it's what I felt. Probably the word ashamed comes to mind. You know, as I think about our business and our people, the first thing I think is important to say is to apologize to Dr. Dow, his family, the passengers on that flight, our customers, our employees. That is not who our family at United is. And you saw us at a bad moment. And this will never happen again.
Late today, United announced it would reimburse all the passengers who were on that flight for the cost of their tickets. Meantime, Mr. Dow has hired some lawyers, and today they made their first legal filing, asking a court to force United to preserve surveillance video related to the flight. Joining me now to discuss is Geraldo Rivera, Fox News Channel correspondent at large. Here, I'm glad you're here. Is this a case that ever gets to trial?
Delighted to be here. I doubt very seriously it'll get to trial for two reasons. Number one, United understands how shameful, how outrageous, how criminal their conduct was. I think that when you look at the officer removing Dr. Dow from his seat, to me that's an assault. Why do I say that? Because this wasn't a hijacking. Nobody was in peril of any danger from this man. He was yanking, he were pulling, then they dragged him, then his face got smashed, his lips are bleeding. I mean, why? What happened here? To me, the danger is that by repetition, this action will come to seem less egregious than it really is. This, to me, is an airline run amok, gone mad, where their greed to fill every seat allows them to violate every concept, every precept of entrepreneurial activity. Usually the customer is always right. Here was a paying customer who got his boarding pass, who was seated in his seat along with his spouse, going to be in a hospital in Louisville, Kentucky the next morning, had to be with his patients, and is told to give up his seat because a United employee had to get to Louisville. That's the convenience of the company, and for them to do this to this man, they deserve the $250 million hit their stock took today.
I was surprised. It's a 4-hour drive from Chicago to Louisville, and if United really needed its employees to be there in the morning, why didn't they just get him a car?
An excellent point. Besides, it's almost a 4-hour walk in O'Hare Airport
from one terminal to the next.
To the next, right.
So some people think that the market will solve this, right? So as you mentioned, the stock price takes a hit. Maybe people decide not to fly on United. But there's a problem for people that live in smaller cities, like the one, well, Denver's bigger now, but it wasn't always. But a city like Louisville doesn't have a lot of choice in air travel. I mean, it's not like every air carrier is flying there, so I don't know if the market can solve it all.
I think that what has to happen now is some really severe punitive action. United has to be punished. When he talked about the reimbursement of every passenger on the plane, the danger is the audience will say, oh, how generous. That is peanuts compared to what United ultimately will have to pay for this action that was so outrageous that it defies explanation. And with all due respect to the CEO, Munoz, for him to side with his employees initially and then gradually, tepidly get to the place where he should have begun, I am ashamed of what we did. This never should have happened. My God, forgive us, and what can we do to fix this? Instead, he tried to stick it to the guy, and then leaking the rumors of Dr. Dow's background and all that.
When I worked for Harold Burson at Burson Marsteller, I remember he wrote a book that said it's always the best answer is always to do the right thing the first time, and then you avoid a lot of problems.
Look at Sean Spicer on the whole, the Hitler didn't use poison gas. Sean Spicer ended in the right place, but it took him a while to get there. The same with Munoz.
He was pretty quick, though.
Just start.
I mean, Sean did that within 4 hours. This has taken 4 days.
I agree, and ultimately I don't want anybody fired, but I want everyone to know that United will pay, and this settlement will be in the millions for Dr. Dow. And when you add up everything, it'll be in the deep tens of millions plus the stock price.
All right.
United will pay grievously for this.
Thank you, Geraldo.